What's happening, everybody? I got a fun guest today in Jason Spence, who is the drum-pounding, beat-blasting rhythm gorilla of Brooklyn's own Prostitution. Jason and I have shared bills throughout the years and have had many a late-night drunken drum nerd conversations throughout the years. So what better time to talk to him than in preparation for the band's upcoming release, October 10th, entitled Egyptian Blue. Now, you might be thinking that's not the most common black metal-esque album title, but then again, neither is Prostitution as a band name, right? And in continuing with strange themes, we touch on musical families, pit bulls, Eastern European vampires at Coney Island, the ever-so-strange world of the Juggalos and the Insane Clown Posse, swap crazy stories of Gwar concerts, boarded-up windows at hardcore shows, Bruce Lee, midgets, white supremacists, and a series of other absurdities and outrageous stories. So bam! That's my little synopsis. Now you just gotta listen to the rest of this conversation. That's the way it goes. Here we go. Crash, bang, boom! Jason motherfucking Spence of Brooklyn's own Prostitution got a new album coming out, Egyptian Blue, October 10th. We got dogs, Gwar, we got all sorts of shit to talk about. What's happening, man?
Oh, I've got Loki on my lap. Makes me very happy.
For those of you listening, Loki is my wife's dog, and she's a fluffy little. She's like a little stuffed animal.
A little mush. She just likes to hang out here.
Yeah, and she's a good little dog.
I'm enjoying her immensely, so this is great.
She's quite nice and soft, isn't she?
She's like a pillow you could lay on her.
Yeah. So what's happening, man? You do you rescue dogs?
I've done some adoption. I've had three adoptions and one rescue. So, I'm an advocate of pit bulls in particular, not to just, single out a breed. All dogs are awesome, but
yeah,
I just seem to gravitate towards pit bulls.
They're the most in demand as far as adoption would be concerned, or saving, or whatever.
They're very misunderstood, and people abuse them because of their attributes, and that's very unfortunate. And there's a lot that need help, especially in New York. So
yeah. You got one now. Tell about your new drum practicing regimen and dog exercise regimen that you've incorporated.
Well, Ophelia is a nut. That's her name. She's a rescue from West Virginia. The belief is that she was used as a breeding dog. She's a red brindle mixed with Australian cattle dog.
Okay.
So that's
those are pretty dogs. I like those Australian cattle dogs.
Yeah, they're good dogs.
You ever hung out with those dogs?
I've hung out a couple of times. They're very smart, very attentive.
Were they hurting you?
They herded me. They herded me into a corner, and they just stared at me. I was like, "What did I do?"
I had a buddy who had two of them, and they would nip at your heels into the house.
Like they forced you into a
you get out of your car. They'd herd you into the house, and then the second you left the house, they'd herd you right back into your car.
What are you doing? Okay, you're going this direction. You don't have a choice.
What a crazy little dog.
They're smart.
Yeah,
they're smart
little fuckers.
Well, this one, the pit bull in her is a little more dominant than the Australian cattle dog.
Yeah.
She's a nut. She was shot in the face.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, she doesn't look... Fortunately, she isn't disfigured, and they found her fast enough that, the wound didn't really fester too much, and she was, rehabilitated. But she's got a crazy streak, because of that. And so one of the things that I have to do, getting into the regiment, is I bought her a treadmill. All right, so the foldable treadmill sits in the closet. I break it out, and she runs for a half an hour, 45 minutes every day. And when she does that, I have this little V kit. It's a Pintec with the mesh heads. Mm-hmm. It's nice to play on. I'll sit down, and when she's running, while encouraging her, I say, "Good girl, you're doing great. You're running really fast." I sit down and I'll play next to her. I'll go through drills, and if I got a part, if we had rehearsal the day before, I've got parts in my head that I really want to work out. Then
Yeah.
I'm sitting there playing, and she's just watching me run away. And she's like, "I'm running. What are you doing?" I'm trying to learn parts.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot of good, like very good constructive work in while I'm running the monster. So that's very
Killing
beneficial.
2 birds.
Yes, and then one of the effects of this is that she's turned into easily 3 or 4 pounds of just muscle mass. So now she's a brick.
That's awesome.
Well, she's a little nervous when she walks. So trying to rein her in every once in a while is not easy.
Right.
So she's put on the strength, but she's just, all she wants to do is big snuggle, like a Loki here.
Right.
She'll just snuggle and hang out.
Right. What at some point you got to put a GoPro or get some video of this. I like the idea of seeing a dog on a treadmill with the dude practicing drums.
I've thought of it, and then that's the thing that's actually going to happen. I've got a couple of GoPros, so I have thought of it, and now that you mention it, I should actually do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dude, you could do a drum playthrough for a song, do it on your V-kit with the dog in the background, set up a few angles, man. We can edit it. We can make this happen.
We can edit and make it happen. We'll turn it into some sort of video.
Absolutely.
The thing is, though, the treadmill has a weird squeak in it, and I haven't been able to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from to kill it. So sometimes, actually, when I'm just going through, like, paradiddles and rudiments and things like that, I'm just doing snare work. It goes in time, and the more I speed her up, it's the same time. So it's almost like I have a click track.
Right, that's weird.
While she's running.
Yeah.
And then I'll play, and I'm playing. Sometimes I find that I'm playing along with her.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It's just this weird, annoying squeak. And I'm like, all right, and then I'm just like, all right, here, 1, 2, and I'm playing along, and I'm playing along with the dog.
Yeah.
But the GoPro thing's a very good idea. It's gonna happen.
Fuck yeah, man.
That's gonna happen.
Man, you've as long as I've known you, you've seemed to have veered towards heavier music and sort of aggressive, fast stuff. I was just thinking the other day because I ask a lot of guys about weird gigs. One of the weirder gigs that I played, I also played with you. Do you know what gig that might have been?
You played with me?
Yeah. Well, your old band and my old band, we played a gig together.
Whoa.
All right, I'm going to fill you in.
You got to fill me in.
Okay.
Give me
Coney Island.
Oh, shit.
Right.
I forgot about that. Wasn't that one of the last shows in that bar?
It was the last
show.
The
I got
last.
hammered after we were done. I ran out into the beach and I was.
You were soaking wet.
Oh fuck!
Oh man,
what a good time,
dude! Coney Island
time.
gets weird at night.
It gets really weird.
Whoa, where the fuck did those people come from?
They're just hanging out like the
Eastern European vampires.
They're hanging out under the boardwalk.
Come out.
They're hanging out under the boardwalk. They come out when they're just like, okay, all the tourists gone.
Yeah.
The regulars are gone.
Yeah.
It's time for us to come out now.
Yeah.
We're going out, and then they all appeared.
There were some drunken, drug-addled fucking weirdos.
My ex at the time, we had a friend that came out with us, and she was from Pittsburgh, and my ex grabbed me by the arm. She's like, "We're going to the beach." I was like, "Yes, we're doing this immediately." We get to the beach, and on the way to the beach, the friend was freaked out. She's like, "No, what are all these people? There's a guy who's covered in some sort of fishing net and women's underwear, and there are cans hanging off of his ears. What's happening here? And what's that dude over there? He's got a cone attached to him somehow." It's like, this is what happens in Coney Island. This is the thing. But I'll tell you what, it was a very good time.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that. It's just the fog of war, I suppose, and I just completely forgot about that. But holy shit,
yeah,
what a good time that was. And that was my only Coney Island gig.
Me too.
You played there? That was your only one too?
Oh, no, I've only done it once. And I've only been out at Coney Island at night once, and it was all that night. So it was like my first Coney Island gig, my first time being out there at night, and last of both of those.
It's the same for me. First and last. I've been down there a number of times just to do beach things. Yeah. Go out there and hang out on the beach. But the night thing, that was like, it's a completely different world.
Goddamn, it's gnarly out there. Speaking of Pittsburgh, you mentioned earlier, you grew up around Pittsburgh. When did you start getting into heavy music? What was the gateway?
It started almost right away. My dad is a drummer.
Oh, well then let's start there then. That's wild. I forgot about that.
Yeah, my dad was a drummer, and it was a situation where I was born when he was pushing 16, 17 years old.
Wow, okay.
And so he was very young parents. So growing up, I had a lot of very young family, and everyone in the family, my grandmother, she plays organ, like one of those big 3-tier organs in the church, and it goes down. Great-grandfather did other things.
Really?
And but we get a kind of a lineage, and it goes 3 or 4 generations of people playing music.
Whoa.
At least on my father's side. Mother's side, not so much.
Yeah.
Being as young as my father was, the drum kit was always around. He was still pretty active as far as playing, you know. And he had a little kit. We had a very large farmhouse. We ran a farmhouse.
Were you able to play his kit?
Not when I was that young. He would actually, when he was rehearsing the band, believe it or not, called Dice.
Really?
It was DYCE. It was just, you know, it was like one of his last things he did before he gave it up, so he could dedicate. Because I have 3 brothers.
Yeah.
And he just kept popping out kids.
Right.
So you know, he just had to really commit to being a father.
Yeah.
And it was one of the last things he did was play drums for this band called Dice. And it's a terrible name. And
there's a German band named Duze, but it's spelled Dyse. And they're really fucking cool. I'll have to play you. Yeah.
Send me something.
I will.
Yeah. I'm
Sorry,
look that up. No. So yeah, I remember vividly like nights that he would be practicing, and he would set me on his knee, and he would play while I'm on his knee.
Really?
In the basement of this farmhouse. And then he had a really good friend, Vince, that would come over and watch rehearsal. He had a motorcycle, and then we'd ride Harleys in the yards. It's very, very Pennsylvania hick as shit. But
yeah.
That was a lot of my youth was that. And then at some point when I got a little older in high school, I kind of got away from it for a little bit. I got a little older, and I was always into heavy metal, like music. Just my dad, he enjoyed, believe it or not, like Metallica early on.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a lot of influence from Zeppelin and Sabbath and those sort of things. But I remember he had Kill 'Em All, and he was blown away by Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
And he's like, you have to hear this. Because anytime he got something, he'd sit around and drink. And
That's
he'd listen to stereo loud.
Right.
And he's like, you have to hear this. And I'm sitting there like a little kid, like, holy shit, what is this?
Oh, I bet.
This is monstrous. So I've always had it, but I didn't actually play in a metal band until I was like 16, 17.
Yeah.
And then like after that, I pretty much, I made a lot of sacrifices. It was, for me, it's always been music first.
Yeah.
Everything else can fuck off. And I don't mean for it to be that way, but that's just how it's been.
Yeah.
Kind of accidentally. So yeah, it starts around 16. I play in this band called Doomsayer, Western Pennsylvania. First show I ever played was I was 17, and it was the Calorie Fire Hall.
Is that like a VFW hall, or
yep,
like
more or less?
Yeah.
The place they had a bit of a following when I was a second drummer. That seems to be a trend with whatever I do. I am the second drummer.
Second guy. Sloppy drummer. Seconds, man. This is a recurring theme with you.
That's it. And the first show I ever played in my life was in front of 300-400 people.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That's impressive.
And there was 2 pits in front. They were a little isolated pit, and people were freaking out for it, you know? So that was a very interesting experience. And ever since then, I just kind of continued down that path. And, you know, bands like As the Sun Sets and The Locust started to push me more into that, more of like the technical, whatever you want to consider that grind, you know, pure grind or whatever. I've also been looking for other projects where I can like sit back and relax and just kind of not go a million miles an hour. And Prostitution kind of gives me a lot of freedom in that regard.
One of the interesting things about you being the second drummer, as we were talking about earlier, in Prostitution, is that the guy who preceded you had a super weird setup. I don't know if you remember how he would set his shit up. Yours makes more sense than his. He would,
which is weird because I set up. A lot of drummers look at my kit. I think you even remarked on it. Where, how do you sit so low? Why do you do that? And I'm like,
the whole thing.
I don't know.
The whole thing. I would really struggle to play your kit. But the previous drummer, he would put his floor tom about with as low as it could possibly go, and he would have these hanging cymbals, and just everything was on weird levels, and the whole thing was so strange.
There was one thing that we had in common, and I didn't know that he did this before I did, or he saw. I don't know who came first. It's chicken, the egg, whatever. But I have a floor tom on my right and left side.
Yeah.
You know, I do the 2 on either side thing, and I've been doing that for 15 years or so.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things that I do, and I love to do it. And then I noticed that he was doing it, and I was like, where did that come from? And I don't know if it was a natural thing. I never asked Russ about it.
Yeah.
He would know, but I think that he may have just come upon it by just playing around because it's so much fun.
Right.
Have you ever done it? Have you ever sat down and had a floor tom on either side?
I haven't, but I love the idea of it.
Steal one of my floor toms.
Yeah.
Next time you rehearse,
okay,
take it, Put it on the other
Put it on the
side.
other side.
If you have room over there.
I don't.
Jason
Jason and I practice in the same tiny-ass practice space where we have 3 drum sets set up and more gear than fucking Metallica needs.
Even with lofted guitars and everything else. It's
so much shit in it.
So much stuff. How do you...
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's talk about Prostitution, man. Y'all recorded this record. Like I said, it's out October 10th.
Yeah, it's a good date.
Egyptian Blue, right?
Egyptian Blue.
1010.
1010, Egyptian Blue. It's a good date. It's a good name.
3 long tracks.
3 very long tracks. You could almost consider it an entire album, I think. It's going to be... A lot of bands put out albums that are half an hour long. This one's going to be pushing just under that. I think it's like 26, something like that.
That's crazy.
These are long songs.
Those are long songs.
They don't feel long when we play them.
Really?
No. I was in the band called Shiro Ishii, which is a terrible name. And
were there any Japanese people in the band?
No, there wasn't.
That would have made more sense.
It would have made more sense. We played a show. Listen, we played a show, and this Japanese guy comes up. It was in Jersey, I believe. We played a show in Jersey, and this Japanese guy comes up. He goes, Shiro Ishii, White Stone. And I was like, what? He goes, that means White Stone. And I was like, I didn't know that. That's pretty crazy.
I didn't either. It just sounds
we
Japanese.
named it after this crazy guy during World War II. He did a lot of human experimentation. Everyone should look him up. Shiro Ishii, he's a nut. That's what the band was named after, but it's so hard to say. It's just like, what? And then the guy's like, oh, White Stone. I'm like,
oh,
damn it. I'm like, damn it. I don't want to be White Stone.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, we had a couple long songs, but nothing like this. And you know, I was talking about, I play a lot of grind and certain things.
Right.
Going over a 5-minute mark was something. And I did that with Demolition. And then with Shiro, you know, we had one song that was pushing 9 minutes.
Right.
That was kind of a thing. And then now a lot of the Prostitution songs are all pushing 5-6 minutes.
Right.
You know, but I'm not killing myself the entire time.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of blasts and double bass and weird fills, and I pull some Lombardo shit every once in a while, but you know, there's a lot of room to relax and sit back. So
right. It's kind of counterintuitive to think that playing so many notes and at high tempos like that you would actually be able to relax. But that obviously that goes back to having played that style for so long that it's ingrained. You've got muscle memory. So
it has to be.
That would be awkward for me to play that, for instance.
We have talked about this before. You know, it's certain when I talked about, you know, the room clue. I can't. Speaking and drinking Grolsch at the same time.
I know, I'm a fan of this Grolsch. I'm feeling the Grolsch
good.
right now. Powered by Grolsch. Fuck it. This podcast is sponsored by Grolsch.
Send all the Grolsch to me.
So, I think we were talking at some point or another. You're one of those guys. I have a friend of mine as well who's a huge fan of Gwar. Seen him as many times, probably as many times as you've seen him.
I'm going on 20 plus times.
That's amazing. The band, so then you beat my own record. The band that I've seen the most at this point is Dillinger Escape Plan, and I think...
Ooh, did you get tickets for the last show?
I did.
We're going to be there.
All
the
right.
first date or the second date?
The second date, because the first one just sold the fuck out.
I got the first date.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be I believe the 16th time that I've seen them.
That's pretty good.
Which is a lot for any band.
They're such a good live band.
They're incredible.
The energy. I saw them with Converge like years ago.
Wow.
So good. Just to have that combination of energy on. And then they played believe this, it was Dillinger Escape Plan, Converge, Norma Jean, and I don't remember who else.
Wow.
But the guitarist from Norma Jean broke a string, came up, hit him right under his eye.
Uh-oh.
He stopped for 2 seconds, put his guitar down, picked up another guitar, and just continued playing. And you can see the blood kind of like trickling down.
Oh, damn.
Anyway, I didn't mean to diverge so much, but Gwar, yeah.
So Gwar, my story, I've got a fucked up story about Gwar.
Oh, give me Gwar, yeah.
All right, so I've actually only seen Gwar once. And this would have been in the early 90s. So this was a long fucking time ago.
Prime.
So we
Are
went.
we talking like post Scum Dogs or America
yeah,
Must
it was
Be Destroyed?
around. I think it was America Must Be Destroyed era. I'm kind of amazed now in thinking about it that I haven't gone back and seen them again, because at the time I was like, this band is so fuck crazy. I knew that going into it, but to experience it is so out of control.
It's a different world.
It's so crazy, you know. They were obviously spraying everybody with blood, and I wore a white shirt just so I could get it fucking covered.
Of course,
with
that's
blood.
what you do.
That's what you do, right?
Yeah.
And but at some point in a maelstrom of drunken guartards, let's call them, somebody's head went right into my nose and straight up broke my fucking nose. And to this day, my nose is crooked, and it's from a Gwar concert.
Well, I mean, if you're going to take anything home from a Gwar concert besides a
well
bloody
be,
cum-stained shirt, then
Right.
at least you have a broken nose.
Yeah, my septum's a little off. And what was really crazy about it is that the opening band was this local band called the Nipples of Isis. They would change their
Nipples of Isis.
Dude, they were the nipples, and they would change the whatever they were.
That's
the nipples,
brilliant.
Nipples of
I
whatever.
never saw them. I wish
You
I
wouldn't
would
have.
have.
They were a New Orleans band. They were just this crazy New Orleans band. The front man of which had, let's say, sort of effeminate characteristics. And man, the crowd, to this day, I've never seen a crowd hate a band more.
Turned hard.
They were hoisting guys up who were flipping them off. And then in retaliation, the singer would just say into the microphone, "Suck my anus, suck my anus." And they did the show. And I was just like, dude, are they going to rush the stage and attack this band? It was gnarly.
Oh.
And then I got my nose broken. So,
Sorry, you got your nose broken. That's a terrible thing. Listen.
it's a good story, though. I'm okay with getting my nose broken for a good story.
That's a very good story. I have a Dave Brockie story who is near and dear to my heart. And I want to make this, and I'm going to say this, and I've told a few people about this, but let's put it on the podcast, because why in the hell not?
Yeah.
The night that Dave Brockie died, my ex, she actually called me, and she knows I'm a huge Gwar fan. And she goes, "You're not going to be happy with what I'm going to say." And I'm like, okay, what the hell happened?
Right.
Do I need to come and pick you up? Are you in trouble? What's going on? She's like, no, I'm okay. She says, it's been confirmed that Dave Brockie has died.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, right. What the fuck? They're just fucking with people. And then I thought about it.
Because that's a legitimate, I could see that.
Well, I thought about it for a second, and honestly, in all the years and all the crazy things that Gwar has ever done, they've never faked a death.
Right.
One of the craziest shows I ever went to, there was a very small bar in Pittsburgh called Cool Pepper's Hot House.
Cool
Pepper's Hot House.
Okay.
A little shithole. Very but they had a small stage. I played there very early in my 17, 18 years old. I'm playing this place. It's a shithole. Beers were cheap and they'd serve anybody. And there was Dave Brockie did a thing called Dave Brockie Experience. And unfortunately, a lot of racist, redneck, pieces of shit, just garbage, decided to clamp on to the Dave Brockie Experience for some reason.
Huh.
And they were on a tour, and for some reason, one of their shows got canceled, and they ended up playing a last-minute gig at Cool Pepper's Hot House. So my bassist, who is a bigger Gwar fan than me, believe it or not, at the time, the bassist at the time, he goes, "Dude, we got to go to Cool Peppers." And I was like, "Why? What the fuck? Why are we going there?" He's like, "No, Dave Brockie's playing there. Dave Brockie Experience is playing there." I was like, "Holy fuck, yes, we're going right now." So we pile in my roommate's truck. There's 5 of us. We're down Cool Peppers. The place is packed out the door. There's nowhere to stand. I'm smashed in the back. I was like, "Fuck yes, Dave Brockie without costume, playing bass, and just playing really shitty punk, terrible punk, but fun. It's fun because everything Dave Brockie did, he was fun. He's a fun, smart dude.
Right.
He gets a couple songs and he's up there barefoot, no shirt, just fucking killing it. And someone made a racist remark, and he realized, he looked in the crowd and he called them all out.
Oh.
He goes, "We're not racist. We don't believe in that shit. Quit following us. We don't want you people around. What the fuck?" And they started to rush the stage.
Oh.
And the stage is no higher than your couch. What is that, 2 feet off the ground? It's 2 or 3 feet off the ground. He took his bass, he fucking threw it on the ground. He's like, "You want to fuck with us?" The whole band stood up, and there were 2 or 3 rows of racist rednecks that started to approach the stage, and they got maybe a foot away from each other, and then they stopped. And it was like the rednecks on the one side, they were like, "Okay, let's collect ourselves." and all of Dave Brock experience was just right there. They were just ready to just start attacking people because he made it very, very clear. He goes, just leave.
Right.
We don't want your energy. We don't want you around. We're not about that. Yeah. I don't know where you got this idea. It was a good 2-minute speech on why he hated those people, and he hated that, that way of life, and he just didn't understand. He's like, I don't understand. What have I ever said that would lead you to believe that I'm one of you? Because I'm obviously not.
Yeah.
So that was one of the most intense. But it came to like the record stopping. It was like they came a foot, like nose to nose.
Whoa.
And then people in the crowd started to pull back the racists and whatever, and then that just kind of ended it. And then he was like, all right, picked up his bass and he just started playing again.
Holy shit.
But that was almost a huge fight in a tiny shithole bar in Pittsburgh.
Wow, that's a good one, man. I'm glad you remembered it. You told me about a show in particular where Gwar opened up for the Insane Clown Posse, so you were hanging out with a bunch of juggalos.
Yeah, that was terrible. For one, I don't understand why the hell Gwar at that point had been around for, I don't know, 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's Gwar. Why would they open up for ICP? And I can kind of understand it in one aspect where...
I mean, ICP has a devoted fan base.
And then that's when they were starting to peak.
Okay.
It was right around that time. It was some weird, newer Pittsburgh venue, too, that I had just like... It was just... It was like walking into a high school cafeteria.
Weird.
The sound was terrible.
But with juggalos.
The sound, so many juggalos. And I swear, at some
face
point...
painting the whole thing?
It was face paint and Faygo and like lots of...
What's Faygo? I don't even know what that is.
Faygo is a soft drink from, I think it's from Ohio, somewhere in Ohio.
Huh.
And Faygo to a juggalo is like gold to the rest of the world who have, a brain. Really? So it's like precious metal.
Really?
It really is. Faygo is a big deal to juggalos. You won't catch a juggalo without some sort of form of Faygo, whether it's a 2-liter bottle or a can or something like that. They come packed
really
like a bandolier.
That's amazing.
It's like a bandolier.
Dude, does the Insane Clown Posse do they by chance own stock in that company? And
I'd be surprised if they didn't, because they're the ones. Anything that ICP, the two of them, Shaggy, fucking whatever the fuck they are, and the fat guy.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of fat juggalos, right?
So there's a lot
Is that
of
one of the prerequisites.
There's a lot of morbidly obese juggalos. I tried to send a GIF to a friend of mine, and it was this huge juggalo dude.
I've seen it.
And the girl was grinding on his belly fat.
Yeah. Super fat.
When did the trailer parks decide that ICP is the best thing on the planet and to chug Faygo and get more brain damage
and get fatter?
They have this thing called, I think it's the collection of the juggalos. They have an event every year.
Right. Yeah.
Some juggalos
Gathering
gonna
of the
knife
juggalos
me
or something.
I'm gonna get shot because of this.
No.
No, they were considered. The FBI considered them a gang.
Right, and they sued the FBI?
They sued the FBI, and the FBI, they came to a deal, and the ICP went back on the deal and decided to sue them again and then won.
That's amazing. We were talking about it earlier. That's like Scientology suing the IRS.
Yeah.
And then fucking getting the IRS to back down.
Yeah, well, you have enough money and power. You can push a court in a direction. The ICP thing, I don't quite get. And honestly, they were a violent group. And I think these days, if they were to transport their most violent period as juggalos and put them into today's
it'd be considered
market
terrorist
with like ISIS and all this other shit going on, they might be considered a terrorist organization.
Jesus.
They attacked... Go on, everyone go to Wikipedia and look up juggalos and violence or something like that. You're going to find some crazy crimes that they've committed.
Really?
Yeah, so.
I haven't actually listened, maybe a few seconds or so of an actual Insane Clown Posse song.
It's terrible. It'll hurt your brain. It hurts. You'll get angry and smash the first thing that's in front of you. Just don't listen to ICP in front of your animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think they'd like it either.
No, they would run. They would leave the room immediately.
I'd like to think. I feel like my fat cat right there. He's got some good taste.
Mescal?
Yeah. I don't know what he's into, but I don't think he's necessarily an
Insane
Clown Posse kind of guy.
Wouldn't be into ICP. No one with two brain cells to smash together would be into ICP. I never understood it. I don't get it.
It is a very strange thing. What other weird shows have you been to that might come to mind? Because Gwar opening up for fucking Insane Clown Posse.
What the fuck? Why did that happen?
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Blows me away.
That's a weird one.
It is. That is definitely a weird one. I don't know. I went to a hardcore show. recently actually, and I didn't realize how hardcore it got. You know, when you're at metal shows, you see floor. Maybe this is because I'm starting to get old, but
Might be.
you see floor punchers. When you're at some regular grind or whatever shows, you see the floor punchers and the people who believe they know how to be like they're trying to summon Bruce Lee,
Right?
And they spin kick and do all other shit, and it was just basically a gang fight the entire time. There was where people tried to hide to watch around the edges of, and then the entire center was a fist fight and kicking and punching, and people were throwing punches hard. And then I was told, the person I went with, I was told that there were different like gangs of hardcore fans. So some of them wore hats or a scarf or something, and it's like you walk in and you're from this other, like people who listen to these other hardcore bands at this other band, they would go at it.
That's crazy.
The venue actually boarded up the windows.
Really?
Because they had hosted a hardcore show previous. This is somewhere in Bushwick that we would probably never play.
Right.
Either one of our bands would ever play. They boarded up the windows. Right. I am not shitting you. I should have taken pictures. They boarded up their windows. I was standing.
They're worried about what bottle? Were they giving out bottles?
They were worried about like someone flying through the fucking window. I'm telling you, like spin
like
kicks
Roadhouse style.
Roadhouse style. No shit. And then a lot of women were getting involved too.
Oh man.
They were taking punches and giving punches. It was pretty impressive actually.
Holy shit.
So
I'm definitely way too old for that shit.
I just don't understand. If I go to shows to enjoy music, and I
mean that's part of the deal is to see the band.
You want to see the band and you want to see them perform and you want to get the overall feel and the vibe of it, and you go there to have an experience, a good experience with a group of people. Sometimes that involves moshing, and I'm of the mind where you go into a mosh pit, and if someone falls down, you pick them up. You don't kick them in the teeth.
Right.
You know, you help them up, and you drop a wallet, or you lose a shoe. Sometimes you lose shoes. Right. You know, you're like, oh, dude, here's your fucking shoe. Get back into the pit.
Right.
You know, and then you have the ring around that kind of push them back in. You corral them and whatever.
Yeah.
That's moshing. People having fun.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want to get out of a gig. I don't want to get out of a gig and just like I have to put up my defenses and like try to block punches.
Because you're more concerned with that than you are ever seeing the goddamn show that you went there in the first place to see.
Any of those bands and what they played. I don't remember like any aspect of that other than I'm dodging punches and kicks the entire fucking time. And I don't want to like. Why is that a thing?
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. Kids these days, Jesus. Well, shit, Jason, before the year closes out, I guess you've got this record coming out, obviously 10-10. We talked about that. Going forward beyond that, what do you have? Any particular gigs or anything booked, or is it just all about getting this record out and writing some new shit and on to the next one?
The really big one is, we have the 10-10 release. And then October 15th, we're playing at Union Pool. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. We're going to have a bit of a varied lineup. That's going to be the EP release party. Okay. So we're trying to do some different things for that. That's all shows are very important to us, but this one in particular is this is the first one with the three of us, as the three of us, me being in there. Yeah. And being a part of this magical ride. Yeah. We're all looking forward to it. So that's it. So 10-15, 10-10. Get the EP, 10-15, come to Union Pool, and experience what we do. It'll be good. We're gonna play a lot of crazy shit. Right on. So some cover. I think we're gonna sprinkle in some covers there that people aren't gonna expect. Okay, I'm into it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Killer. It'll be a lot of fun. Well, I think that covers it, man. Jason, thanks for sitting down with me. Thank you. Cheers. I love the opportunity. Appreciate it. Zdravia. Yeah, man. All right, that was a wild one. That's what beers and party libations will do to you. Thanks for tuning in as always, and be sure to try and catch Prostitution show 10-15 at Union Pool if you're in the tri-state area. It's going to be a fucking humdinger, man. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Crash, bang, boom!